September 26, 2004, Damascus, Syria. At exactly 11:23 p.m., a parked car on one of the most secure streets in the Syrian capital will explode with the force of a battlefield weapon. It will kill one man, quietly, instantly, inside a moving armored vehicle protected by Syrian intelligence. The attack will leave no attackers, no witnesses, and no fingerprints. And by the time Damascus understands what just happened, the people responsible will already be gone, across borders, across identities, erased. This is not the story of a bombing. This is the story of how Israeli intelligence hunted and killed a man who was never supposed to be found. In the heart of an enemy capital, a cream-colored sedan sits parked on Autostrade Meze, unremarkable among dozens of vehicles lining this affluent boulevard in Damascus's diplomatic quarter. Inside its wheel well, packed with surgical precision, sit 2 kilograms of Czech-made Semtex plastic explosive. Somewhere, perhaps in a 4th-floor apartment 3 blocks away, perhaps in a communications van, perhaps in a bunker thousands of miles away in the Negev desert, an operative's finger hovers over a transmitter button, waiting. This is the story of an assassination so audacious, executed in the heart of a hostile capital, protected by one of the most ruthless intelligence services, that it would redefine the boundaries of covert operations. This is the story of how Mossad killed a ghost.
Is el-Din Sheikh Khalil. Say the name in Gaza and mothers pull their children closer. Say it in Tel Aviv and security officials reach for classified files stamped Sakana Gadola, extreme danger. Born in 1963 in the West Bank, Khalil was Hamas's chief weapons expert. He had at least 17 aliases: Abu Muhammad, Abu Allah, the engineer. For 14 years, Israeli intelligence hunted him. Mossad, Shin Bet, Amman military intelligence. They had files on him that filled an entire room beneath Tel Aviv. Surveillance photos from 3 continents, bomb fragments, witness testimonies from 19 separate attacks. The Dizengoff bombing, March 1996, 13 dead. The number 18 bus in Jerusalem, February 1996, 26 dead. The Dolphinarium Disco Massacre, June 2001, 21 teenagers dead outside a Tel Aviv nightclub. Khalil's fingerprints were on Israel's darkest days. He perfected the suicide vest, stable enough to transport, devastating enough to collapse concrete, packed with shrapnel calibrated for maximum tissue damage. He trained bombers personally in Gaza safe houses, teaching them not just how to detonate, but where to stand for optimal kill radius, how to blend into crowds. Over 100 deaths were directly attributed to his devices. Israeli intelligence believed the real number was closer to 200. The Israelis had nearly captured him twice, once in Jenin in 2002, missing him by 17 minutes, and again in Gaza City in 2003, when an Apache strike destroyed a convoy he was supposed to be in. He wasn't. A double had taken his place.
By 2003, Hamas relocated Khalil to Damascus. Syria, under Bashar al-Assad, had become the Switzerland of terrorism. Hamas political chief Khalid Mashal lived in a guarded villa. Palestinian Islamic Jihad maintained headquarters on Meze Street. Hezbollah ran a permanent liaison office, coordinating with Iranian Revolutionary Guard officers. Assad allowed this for strategic reasons. These organizations gave Syria leverage, cards to play against Israel, proxies to deploy, plausible deniability if things went wrong. Khalil arrived in August 2003, traveling through Jordan on forged Iraqi documents. He was given an apartment at 23 Baghdad Street in the Meze district. Marble lobbies, private balconies, the kind of place where Syrian government officials lived. The Mukhabarat assigned him a protection detail, 4 Syrian intelligence officers rotating shifts, driving him in armored vehicles. Damascus should have been the perfect sanctuary. Checkpoints every few blocks, plainclothes security watching from cafes, surveillance cameras at major intersections. Syrian intelligence had a reputation for ruthlessness. Dissidents disappeared into detention centers, never to be seen again.
For 8 months, Khalil lived in comfort. He met regularly with Hamas operatives at rotating locations: the Four Seasons coffee shop, a falafel restaurant near the Umayyad Mosque, private homes in the Christian Quarter. He walked Damascus streets without fear, browsing bookstores, drinking Arabic coffee at outdoor cafes, taking his daughter to the Damascus U. He believed he was untouchable. Israeli intelligence believed otherwise. December 2003, Mossad headquarters in Tel Aviv, a brutalist concrete building locals call Mossad. Around a conference table sat 9 people. At the head, Meir Dagan, Mossad's director, a former Sayeret Matkal commando with the face of a biblical warrior. Ariel Sharon had once said Dagan was the man he'd want beside him if storming hell itself. Yahia Khalil is in Damascus, said the officer from Caesarea Unit, the department responsible for assassinations. We have confirmed his location, his patterns, his security detail. We have a window. The risks were enumerated. Damascus wasn't Gaza. This was the capital of a hostile nation with a professional intelligence service. Getting caught meant dead agents, international incident, possibly war. Syria had a defense pact with Iran. Hezbollah would respond. The entire northern border could ignite. What's the alternative? Dagan asked quietly. We let him train the next generation of bombers? We let him walk Damascus streets while he plans the next massacre? We've intercepted communications suggesting a coordinated attack on multiple targets in Jerusalem. Silence around the table. If we do this, the Shin Bet representative said, it has to be perfect. No captured operatives, no fingerprints, nothing that proves Israeli involvement. Can it be done? The Caesarea officer opened a folder, surveillance photos of a Damascus intersection, technical diagrams, timelines. Yes, but we'll need 6 months, and we'll need the Prime Minister's authorization. 3 days later, Ariel Sharon reviewed the plan in his Jerusalem office. He'd fought Syrian forces in 1973, studied their tactics, respected their capabilities. But he also knew terrorism respected nothing but strength. He signed the authorization with one word in Hebrew: execute.
January 2004. The operation began in Amman, Jordan. A Mossad case officer, posing as a German telecommunications consultant, contacted a 34-year-old Palestinian, call him Source Damocles, who had gambling debts, a pregnant wife, and a cousin in Damascus who serviced Syrian government vehicles. 3 meetings, 15,000 Jordanian dinars. Damocles' job? Watch, report movements, identify patterns. But Damocles was just one thread in a web across 3 continents. In Paris, a Mossad front company called Intertech Solutions ordered specialized electronics from Czech manufacturers, radio transmitters, timer circuits, battery assemblies, all legal, all unremarkable, but capable of detonating explosives from a kilometer away. In Rome, a scion, a Jewish volunteer who assists Mossad, used his import-export business to ship components to Beirut, packed inside computer equipment. From Beirut, a Lebanese Christian transported everything across the border, hidden in furniture shipments. In Cyprus, Mossad technicians tested explosive configurations in a rented villa, measuring blast radii, ensuring the device would destroy an armored vehicle while minimizing collateral damage. In Damascus, at least 3 operatives worked the ground. None Israeli, too risky. A Palestinian with forged Syrian papers, a Lebanese businessman, and a Syrian Mukhabarat officer whose identity remains classified, but whose assistance was invaluable.
March 24, 2004. Surveillance began in earnest. Every intelligence operation depends on patterns. The Watchers cataloged everything. March 12, Thursday, 11:17 p.m. Khalil leaves apartment, drives to Four Seasons Hotel, meets 2 Hamas operatives for 43 minutes, returns home via different route. March 16th, Monday, 10:35 p.m., leaves apartment, Syrian security follows, drives to private home in Mossad neighborhood, returns via Autostrade Meze. The pattern emerged. Sunday and Thursday nights, late evening departure, meetings with Hamas operatives, return between 12:30 and 1:30 a.m. April through June, the pattern held. The Syrian security detail became routine, complacent. They'd driven these routes dozens of times without incident. One stretch of road appeared consistently, Autostrade Meze, between the Justice Palace and Sheridan Hotel. 4 lanes each direction, tree-lined median. At night, traffic thinned significantly. There was an intersection where Autostrade Meze crosses Al Jala Street, where traffic slowed, where vehicles bunched at the signal, where a target would be stationary for 15 to 20 seconds. The kill zone. The challenge was timing. Khalil didn't pass through every time. He varied routes, but when he did, it was almost always between 11:15 and 11:30 p.m. By September 2004, the network was ready. The explosives had been smuggled in 3 separate shipments over 4 months, stored in a Tadama neighborhood garage, assembled by the Lebanese operative with Civil War explosives training. The Vector vehicle, a stolen Mitsubishi Galant from a Damascus impound lot, was purchased for $300, repaired and outfitted with the device in a warehouse near the airport. On September 23rd, the Galant was parked on Autostrade Meze, 40 meters before the Al Jala intersection. The explosive charge faced the roadway. The detonation mechanism was armed, waiting for a radio signal. For 3 days, the car sat there, unremarked, just another vehicle in a city of 3 million. On September 26th, confirmation came. Khalil was keeping to schedule.
September 26, 2004, Damascus, 24 degrees Celsius. The city wound down after the weekend. 9:47 p.m. Source Damocles sent a coded text, "Package is moving." Khalil had left his apartment. 10:15 p.m., a spotter confirmed Khalil's vehicle entering the Four Seasons parking garage. 10:52 p.m., package exiting location, 2 vehicles in convoy. 3 observation posts tracked movement through the city. A watcher in a taxi near the Umayyad Mosque confirmed the convoy heading northwest. Another observer confirmed vehicles turning onto Autostrade Meze. The route was set. He was coming through the kill zone. 11:19 p.m., the detonation team, 2 operatives in a 4th-floor apartment 150 meters from the intersection, received final confirmation. Package entering zone, 90 seconds. 1 operative held the transmitter, antenna extended. The other watched through night vision binoculars, tracking headlights approaching from the southeast. In Tel Aviv, the operational commander spoke. "You are authorized. Green light." The detonation team leader responded with 1 word in Hebrew, "Mevun," understood.
11:22 p.m. Khalil sat in the back seat of the armored Toyota, reviewing notes. He'd spent 90 minutes discussing fundraising operations in the Gulf and weapons coordination with Hezbollah. Beside him sat his deputy, a Hamas operative from Gaza. The driver was a Syrian Mukhabarat officer who'd been driving this route for 6 months and found it tediously routine. Behind them, 50 meters back, followed the security vehicle, another Toyota with 3 armed Syrian officers. The convoy traveled northwest on Autostrade Meze. Traffic was scattered, a few taxis, private cars, a late-night bus. The driver checked mirrors habitually. No unusual vehicles, no motorcycles. He'd been briefed on assassination methods used against other Hamas operatives. Everything appeared normal. 11:22 p.m. The convoy approached the Al Jala intersection. Green light ahead. The driver maintained 50 kilometers per hour. On the right, parked against the curb, sat the cream-colored Galant. Windows slightly dusty. A parking ticket tucked under the windshield wiper. A detail added for authenticity. Inside, 2 kilograms of Semtex as a shaped charge. Ammonium nitrate booster. Metal fragments to penetrate vehicle armor. Waiting for frequency 447.325 megahertz. 150 meters away, the operative with binoculars watched. Target vehicle confirmed, 20 meters from device. The operative holding the transmitter placed his thumb on the button. His hand was steady. 15 meters. In Tel Aviv, 7 officers watched a digital map showing the convoy's GPS position moving toward the red kill zone circle. 10 meters. Khalil glanced up from his notes, looking out at Damascus night. Perhaps he saw the parked car. Perhaps he noticed nothing. 5 meters. Perfect alignment. Execute. 11:23 p.m. and 14 seconds, the operative pressed the button. The Semtex detonated at 8,000 meters per second. The shaped charge directed explosive force horizontally with devastating precision, 2,000 pounds per square inch. The armored Toyota's right side crumpled inward, windows vaporized. The concussion wave created catastrophic overpressure that killed Khalil and his deputy instantly. The vehicle lifted off the ground, 1,800 kilograms, rotated 30 degrees, dropped back onto pavement on its roof. Fuel tank ruptured, secondary fires ignited immediately. The security vehicle caught the blast edge, windows shattered, but the driver maintained control. The 3 Syrian officers grabbed weapons, took cover, scanning for attackers. But there were no attackers. The enemy had vanished. The shockwave radiated outward, windows shattered in buildings 150 meters away, car alarms triggered in cascades up and down Autostrade Mez. People were knocked off their feet. The Galant was obliterated, scattered fragments in a crater in pavement. Pieces of the engine block would be found embedded in building facades across the street. The 2 operatives were already moving. The transmitter went into a bag destined for the Barata River. They left separately, different staircases, different exits. Within an hour, both headed toward borders. Within 24 hours, both out of Syria entirely. In Tel Aviv, confirmation at 11:24 p.m. Target eliminated, assets extracting. Mayor Dagan nodded once. No celebration, just grim satisfaction. On Autostrade Mez, chaos descended. Syrian officers radioed desperately. Within 3 minutes, police arrived. Within 5, fire trucks battled flames. Within 7, Syrian military intelligence sealed the neighborhood. No one in, no one out. The area was cordoned 3 blocks in every direction. Residents were turned back by armed soldiers. Syrian intelligence questioned everyone. Apartments were searched, rooftops inspected, security footage confiscated. Too late. The operatives were ghosts. 11:47 p.m., Syrian state television interrupted programming. An explosion in Mez, casualties unknown, cause under investigation. By midnight, Syrian intelligence confirmed the target. By 12:30 a.m., calls flooded in from Hamas in Gaza. By 1 a.m., the situation was clear to everyone monitoring communications. Is Eldin Sheikh Khalil, the master bomb maker, was dead, killed by a bomb. The irony was not lost on anyone.
September 27th, 2 p.m. Syrian Foreign Minister Farouk al-Shara stood before journalists, face tight with rage. Last night, the Zionist entity committed an act of state terrorism on Syrian soil. This brazen violation demonstrates Israel's contempt for international law. He demanded an emergency UN Security Council session, called on the Arab League to condemn the attack, warned Syria reserved the right to respond. But international response was muted. The United States called for restraint, but offered no condemnation, noting Khalil was a known Hamas operative responsible for planning terrorist attacks. The European Union expressed concern, but similarly noted his background. France called for investigation. Britain said the situation was troubling. Russia and China condemned extrajudicial killings, but neither pushed for concrete UN action. The truth was evident. Khalil was a terrorist who'd killed civilians. His death might be legally questionable, politically complicated, but morally, few governments shed tears. More importantly, Syria's harboring of Hamas was well known. The international community saw this as consequence of Syria's policy choices. Israeli officials said nothing publicly, but made their position clear privately. Syria hosted terrorist operational leadership planning attacks on Israeli civilians. Israel would continue protecting its citizens regardless of where planners hid. The message was unmistakable. Sanctuary in Damascus was no longer guaranteed.
September 28th, Gaza City. Khalil's funeral drew tens of thousands. Hamas militants fired rifles. Green flags filled streets. Masked men vowed revenge. But beneath public defiance, Hamas leadership was in crisis. In Damascus, now swept daily for devices, guards tripled, new protocols implemented, Khalid Mashal convened emergency meetings. "We've lost 5 senior operatives in 4 years," Mashal said. "Khalil is dead. Before him, Sheikh Yassin, Rantisi, Shahad, El Ghul. The Israelis are hunting us systematically. Damascus isn't safe. Gaza isn't safe. Nowhere is safe. The operational implications were severe. Khalil wasn't just a bomb maker, he was institutional knowledge. His designs, techniques, innovations died with him. More fundamentally, the assassination shattered psychological security. Hamas leaders moved constantly, changed locations daily, limited communications, trusted no one. The paranoia was necessary, but corrosive. Internal security became obsessive. Everyone was suspected. Someone had provided surveillance. Someone had revealed patterns. Someone had betrayed them. The internal investigation was brutal. Associates were questioned aggressively. Palestinians in Damascus with foreign contacts were interrogated. Hamas severed ties with dozens whose loyalty was questionable. The damage was done. The weapons expertise pipeline from Damascus to Gaza slowed significantly. Sophisticated explosives that characterized early 2000s attacks became less common. Israeli intelligence assessments concluded the assassination set back Hamas' operational capability by at least 2 years. Several planned attacks were abandoned due to lack of technical expertise. Successful suicide bombings declined significantly in 2005-2006. From a tactical perspective, the operation achieved its objective.
For Syria, the assassination created an impossible bind. Assad's regime built regional strategy around hosting militants, leverage against Israel, influence in Palestinian affairs, but the bombing demonstrated the cost. Syria was now a legitimate Israeli target. The Syria-Hamas relationship began fraying. Syrian intelligence, humiliated, became less cooperative. Hamas leaders found movements restricted, meetings monitored more closely, requests met with bureaucratic delays. "You brought this on yourselves," a Syrian official told Hamas representatives. "Your security was so poor the Israelis operated freely. Now we all pay the price." Syria launched massive counterintelligence operations, arresting suspected collaborators, tightening borders, implementing new surveillance protocols. The Mukhabarat became even more oppressive. Within a week, 17 Palestinians were arrested on collaboration suspicion. Most were innocent, but 3 were indeed part of the support network. Under interrogation, they provided fragments, a Lebanese man asking questions, payments for surveillance, a car purchase. But core operatives had vanished completely. Interrogations yielded nothing actionable. Source Damocles fled to Jordan the night of the bombing. He would never return to Syria. Mossad would resettle him with a new identity, reward for service and insurance against capture. The real fracture came during the Syrian civil war beginning in 2011, when Assad used massive force against civilian protesters. Hamas, a Sunni organization, couldn't support a government slaughtering Sunni Muslims. By 2012, Hamas completely withdrew from Damascus, relocating external leadership to Qatar and Turkey. The Damascus bombing, in retrospect, was the beginning of the end of the Syria-Hamas alliance. The assassination demonstrated that association with Hamas brought danger, and when the regime faced existential crisis, that relationship was expendable. 20 years later, the intersection of Autostrade Meze and Al-Jalal Street looks like any other. Pavement repaired, buildings renovated, traffic flows normally. New generations walk past without knowing what happened here. The operation that killed Izz el-Din Sheikh Khalil represents the pinnacle of covert tradecraft. Meticulous intelligence, innovative methods, local recruitment, precise timing, successful extraction. No Israeli captured, no definitive evidence made public. Tactical objective achieved while maintaining plausible deniability. But operations like this carry consequences that ripple far beyond the immediate target. They establish precedent for extrajudicial killings in foreign capitals. They normalize assassination as statecraft. They create cycles of retaliation spanning decades. The moral calculus is complex. Khalil was responsible for over 100 deaths: men, women, children, Holocaust survivors, teenagers at a disco, families celebrating Passover. His death arguably prevented future attacks. Israeli intelligence suggests several major plots were disrupted. Yet the methods used, penetrating a foreign capital, conducting a bombing that could have killed bystanders, violating Syrian sovereignty, raise profound questions about international law, about boundaries of self-defense, about where counterterrorism ends and state terrorism begins. There are no easy answers, only the historical record. On September 26, 2004, Israeli intelligence reached into Damascus and killed a man they considered a legitimate military target. Syria considered it an act of war. The international community largely looked away, and the shadow war continued, as it continues today. In Mossad's classified archives, the operation has a code name that remains secret, but among intelligence professionals worldwide, it's studied as a masterclass, an operation so audacious, so meticulously executed, that it redefined what was possible in intelligence warfare. The hunters had reached into enemy territory and eliminated their target. And somewhere in secure facilities across the Middle East, other targets watch over their shoulders, knowing sanctuary is an illusion, that the hunters are always watching, always planning, and sometimes, always one step ahead.